April 2009, James Gosling sits alone in his office, watching the company he helped build for 26 years being sold off like furniture at an estate sale. The man who created Java, the programming language running on 3 billion devices worldwide, has zero control over what happens next. Zero. This is the paradox nobody talks about. The most important programming language in modern computing created by a man who ended up completely powerless over it. 30,000 jobs destroyed. An $8.8 billion lawsuit. A $7.4 billion acquisition decided by a difference of 10 cents per share. 10 cents. How does the father of Java end up erased by the very company that needed him most? Here's what they don't tell you. Behind the press releases and corporate PR, this is a story of betrayal. A 10-cent bidding war that triggered the largest tech layoffs in Silicon Valley history. Billions of dollars at risk. A courtroom battle so brutal it stretched across 11 years and reached the Supreme Court, while families lost everything. Corporate raiders walked away with hundreds of millions only to face the biggest legal humiliation in tech history. This is the story of how Silicon Valley's most important programming language became the center of the most devastating corporate betrayal ever recorded. If you want to know how Oracle's greed destroyed one of tech's greatest companies, hit that like button and subscribe to Stream Clash, because what happened next will make you question everything you thought you knew about who really owns innovation. By 2009, Sun Microsystems was hemorrhaging $100 million every single month. Let that sink in. $100 million monthly. The company that had revolutionized computing was dying a slow, public death. Stock prices had collapsed 80% in just 1 year. Once worth tens of billions, Sun was now desperately hunting for a buyer before complete financial ruin. This was the same company that created Java, the programming language that made it possible for code to run anywhere, on any device. Billions of smartphones, computers, and servers worldwide depended on it daily. Your phone, probably running Java. That ATM you used this morning, Java. Traffic lights, medical devices, enterprise systems, all Java. Sun Microsystems had built the invisible infrastructure of modern life. And then they made a fatal mistake. They gave Java away for free. While the entire tech industry built fortunes on Sun's innovation, Google, Amazon, countless startups in itself couldn't figure out how to make money from their own creation. The irony was brutal. They'd handed the world the keys to a gold mine and kept none of the gold for themselves. The dot-com crash shattered their hardware business. And despite Java running the modern world, the revenue never followed. Sun watched helplessly as everyone else got rich off their genius. By late 2008, the vultures were circling. The massive tech corporations saw an opportunity to acquire Java and Sun's other technologies for pennies on the dollar. The first was IBM, a company known for ruthless efficiency and aggressive cost-cutting. They'd been courting Sun for months, promising protection and stability. The second bidder was more surprising: Oracle, primarily a database company. They'd never shown interest in hardware or operating systems. But Oracle CEO Larry Ellison understood something others had missed. Something that would change everything. IBM offered $9.40 per share. Oracle offered $9.50. A difference of 10 cents that would determine the fate of 33,000 employees and the future of the world's most valuable programming language. For months, IBM had been the clear frontrunner. They'd spent countless hours in negotiations, promising Sun's executives they would preserve the company's open-source culture and protect every single job. The engineers, the developers, the families depending on those paychecks. But then the talks started stalling. Antitrust regulators worried about the merger creating a monopoly in enterprise computing. Weeks turned into months. Every delay burned through Sun's cash reserves at a terrifying pace. The company was bleeding out in real time, losing $100 million every single month while lawyers argued over paperwork. Sun was running out of time. That's when Larry Ellison made his move. Here's what most people don't know. Ellison had initially only wanted Sun's software assets. He didn't care about their servers, storage systems, or manufacturing facilities. Hardware was a headache he didn't need. But when IBM entered the picture, everything changed. Ellison realized something that kept him up at night. If IBM acquired Sun, Oracle would lose access to Java forever. And that was an existential threat, because Java powered the foundation of Oracle's entire middleware business worth billions in annual revenue. Oracle's software products were built on top of Java. Losing control of it would be catastrophic. It would be like building a skyscraper and then having someone else own the ground beneath it. So Ellison did something unprecedented. He offered to buy the entire company, $7.4 billion in cash, for everything Sun owned. Hardware, software, patents, everything. The bidding war lasted just weeks. IBM, frustrated by regulatory delays and unwilling to match Oracle's aggressive timeline, suddenly withdrew their offer. Sun's board was stunned. Their backup plan had become their only option. On April 20, 2009, Oracle and Sun announced the acquisition. Financial media called it the deal of the decade. Larry Ellison declared Java the single most important software asset we have ever acquired. Sun's employees celebrated in the hallways. They thought they'd been saved by a software giant who understood their technology's true value. Within months, they would discover the terrible price of that salvation. 26 years. James Gosling had spent 26 years at Sun Microsystems. Rising from researcher to chief technology officer of Java, developers worldwide revered him as the father of the language that had transformed modern computing. At Sun, his word on Java's direction carried absolute authority. When Gosling spoke, the entire developer community listened. Oracle dismantled that authority piece by piece. Within months of the acquisition, the architects of Sun's greatest innovations found themselves trapped in a corporate nightmare. Gosling later revealed the truth in his own words: "My ability to decide anything at Oracle was minimized. Oracle," he explained, "was an extremely micromanaged company. All of our authority to decide anything evaporated." Imagine that. The man who created one of the most important technologies in human history reduced to a glorified mascot, paraded on stage at conferences to legitimize Oracle's control. Smile for the cameras, James. Read the prepared statements. Promote decisions made by executives who'd never written a line of code in their lives. It was corporate theater at its cruelest. But Oracle wasn't done humiliating him. Despite his legendary status in Silicon Valley, despite Java running on billions of devices, Oracle offered Gosling a significant pay cut. The performance bonuses that had rewarded Sun's top engineers vanished overnight. The message was unmistakable: "You're just another employee now." And Gosling wasn't alone. The exodus had already begun. Tim Bray, co-creator of XML, resigned in February 2010 before the acquisition was even finalized. Jonathan Schwartz, Sun's CEO, was forced out immediately. Taki Kawaguchi, who built the Hudson development tool, quit in April. Sun's greatest minds were fleeing Oracle's suffocating grip, one resignation letter at a time. On April 2, 2010, exactly 1 year after the acquisition announcement, James Gosling reached his breaking point. He submitted his resignation with a cryptic blog post that spoke volumes through its silence, and honest would do more harm than good. Read that again. The man who had spent decades building Java in the open, collaborating with developers worldwide, championing transparency, was now legally and professionally silenced. He couldn't even tell the truth about what Oracle had done to him. The man who created the language running on billions of devices worldwide with invisible infrastructure powering modern life walked away with nothing. No control, no voice, no recognition, just a non-disclosure agreement and a pay cut. And Oracle. They kept the crown jewel and prepared to weaponize it. Oracle had a proven playbook. After acquiring PeopleSoft, they cut 5,000 jobs. After buying Siebel Systems, another 2,000 workers were eliminated. Sun's 33,000 employees were next in line for the executioner. Larry Ellison publicly promised, "We're hiring, not firing." Behind closed doors, Oracle executives were planning the largest tech layoffs in Silicon Valley history. The cuts began immediately. Even while Sun was bleeding money during the acquisition delays, Oracle forced them to announce 3,000 additional layoffs. Employees received the news through automated phone calls on a Friday afternoon. No explanations. Just a recorded message telling you that your career, your livelihood, your family's security was over. Oracle's strategy was surgical and ruthless. They identified every department with overlapping functions and eliminated Sun's side entirely. Engineering teams that had spent decades building revolutionary technological innovations that powered the internet itself were dissolved overnight. The Apache Software Foundation, which had collaborated with Sun on open-source projects for years, resigned in protest. They could see Oracle's true intentions. Sun's culture of openness and collaboration was being systematically destroyed. But even worse was what happened to Sun's crown jewel projects. Hudson, the popular development tool built by a passionate community, was stripped away and renamed Jenkins after Oracle claimed trademark ownership. Think about that. Developers who had built it for free, contributing thousands of hours out of love for the craft, were suddenly told they couldn't use their own creation. Oracle executives wanted complete control over Sun's technology, how it was used, who could access it, what the community could build with it. The final toll was devastating. Industry analysts estimated Oracle would eliminate 15,000 to 16,000 Sun jobs, nearly half of the entire workforce. These weren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. These were engineers, designers, and support staff who had dedicated their careers to Sun's mission of open computing. Entire campuses were shuttered. Sun's sprawling Menlo Park facility, where some of the internet's foundational technologies were invented, was sold to Facebook. Decades of institutional knowledge walked out the door with pink slips and cardboard boxes. Families lost their homes. Careers built over lifetimes ended with an automated phone call. And Larry Ellison, he added Java to his trophy case. But Oracle's appetite for destruction was just beginning, because there was one company that had built an empire on Java, a company worth hundreds of billions, a company that Oracle believed owed them money. Google. The Java story revealed Silicon Valley's darkest reality. Companies claiming to build the future are often the ones most willing to destroy it for quarterly profits. 30,000 lives, 11 years of legal warfare, billions of dollars wasted. All because one corporation believed they could own the alphabet of software development. Here's what they don't teach you in business school: innovation doesn't come from corporate boardrooms. It comes from passionate developers who believe technology should serve humanity, not shareholders. James Gosling, father of Java, lost everything: his authority, his legacy, his company. Meanwhile, Oracle executives walked away with millions while destroying one of tech's greatest cultures. But in the end, Gosling's vision won. Java remains free, open, accessible to every developer who wants to build something meaningful. Oracle's attempt to cage it failed. So here's my question for you: was Oracle right to fight for control, or should programming languages remain free for everyone? Drop a comment below. I want to hear your take. If this story of corporate greed shocked you, hit that like button and subscribe to Stream Clash. We expose the hidden scandals behind the world's biggest companies. Our next video is right here. Think you'll love it. Thanks for watching.